So many great missions start with just a single unexpected moment. For the founder of SpeedWings, that moment wasn't in some fancy boardroom. It was an encounter on the street that pretty much changed the course of his life. So, let's get into that story. Okay, so it all kicked off way back in 2006. It wasn't a business plan, it was a chance meeting that really planted the seed for what would become a lifelong mission. So the founder, Saroj Phuyal, is in Singapore, and he runs into a fellow Nepali man. And this guy, he wasn't just working a tough job, he was completely undocumented, living under this constant, crushing fear of being caught and deported at any second. And look, this wasn't just some passing moment of pity. The fear in that man's eyes, it was raw, and it left a huge mark on Saroj. It was one of those things you just can't unsee, a problem he knew he couldn't just walk away from and forget. And that one question, well, it turned into an obsession. It wasn't about making a quick buck. It was about finding a real, actual solution, a way for hardworking people to find jobs, legally, with dignity, and without that constant terror hanging over their heads. Okay, so you have this powerful idea, right? But how do you actually turn an obsession into action? I mean, it's one thing to have a great idea, but building a real organization from the ground up, that is a whole different ballgame. For 2 whole years, that idea was just bubbling away, growing from a spark into a solid plan. And then, in June of 2008, SpeedWings officially became a reality. They started with basically no money, but they were built on something way more important, a real, solid commitment to doing things the right way. And here's a really smart insight they had early on. They realized that for so many people, the path to a better life could literally start with a single piece of paper. Saroj figured out that helping someone write a professional resume, well, that wasn't just about formatting. It was about giving them the key to unlock a door to a whole new future. All right, so how did a company with no marketing budget even get off the ground? Well, not with flashy ads or big campaigns. They did it the old-fashioned way, by slowly and deliberately building trust, one successful person at a time. Their growth was completely organic, built on real results and people just talking. Workers who had a good experience told their friends. Employers who were happy with the candidates came back for more. It's just proof that, in this kind of business, your reputation is honestly the best marketing you could ever ask for. And then, a huge moment for them came in 2022. After all those years of sticking to their principles, their ethical way of doing things was officially recognized with a government license in Nepal. This was so much more than a piece of paper. It was validation that their model, the one built on integrity, actually worked. And look at them today. That one mission has just blossomed into something so much bigger. The SpeedWings group is now this whole ecosystem of services, everything from recruitment and skills training to education and even international trade, all operating under that same original philosophy. Okay, so after 17 years in the trenches, what have they actually learned? Their philosophy isn't something they read in a book. It's made up of tough lessons learned from doing the work, day in and day out. Let's break down what they figured out. And this right here, this is the core of their philosophy. It's a total shift in thinking. They realized, hey, it's way better to place 10 workers who are properly prepared and are going to succeed than to just send 100 people who might fail. The focus is on quality and long-term success, not just hitting a quota for the month. This quote, this gets to the very heart of it all. It's what makes them different. When you stop seeing placements as transactions and start seeing them as a person's entire future, their family's hope, their biggest dream, you just approach the work with a totally different level of care. So why is all that preparation so important? Well, the numbers don't lie. Language skills are a total game changer. A worker who can communicate well suddenly has access to 3 times as many opportunities and can earn anywhere from 30 to 50% more. It's an investment that pays off big time. And this whole philosophy, it's not just about one person at a time. It scales up to something much, much bigger. This was never just about building one successful company. It's always been about making a difference for the entire country. Think about this number, 500,000 people every single year leaving Nepal to find work. The mission is huge. If you can make that process better, safer, more ethical, more successful, you're not just helping individuals, you're helping change the future of the entire nation. So for the workers themselves, what does this actually mean? Well, it boils down to this clear 6-part promise. In an industry that, let's be honest, can be really exploitative, this is their pledge to treat people like family, making sure they're safe, prepared, and supported through the whole journey. And it's not a one-way street. The promise they make to employers is just as solid. It's not about just sending over bodies to fill a spot. It's about delivering reliable, well-prepared people and building real, lasting partnerships that are based on trust. Even their name, SpeedWings, tells the whole story. Speed is for doing things efficiently, and Wings is all about providing that support, that freedom to take flight. Put them together, and that's the whole mission, helping people soar, but doing it quickly, safely, and by the book. Because at the end of the day, success for them isn't about the balance sheet or the number of placements. It's measured in the real stories of people who are actually thriving. The worker who can finally buy land back home, or the caregiver who is supporting her family with dignity. That's the real win. So this whole thing, it all started with one person's story, the story of that cleaner in Singapore. And now it ends here with a question for you. It's a reminder that a single moment of seeing someone else's struggle can spark a huge mission. It really makes you think, what's the next chapter of your own story going to be?